I think that there's definitely the Sam Darnold, as much as it's virulent between me and Jesse on this one in this debate. It's the same thing that you have, I think, existing out there in the general fan base that'll kind of take over whatever you might take as far as a moral victory, in this one. I think that I understand why the Sam Darnold thing is going to come up as far as, well, this proves this. I think it's kind of cherry picking a little bit when you just ignore, like Jake said, everything else he's done to the point of this season where he's been at times an MVP candidate, where now suddenly he just sucks. Maybe it's like Jake said, maybe they have the kryptonite there with the Rams. Maybe it is true that just you get him in the big moments and he's going to fail. We'll see with that with time, I think. I don't think that that's the case. I think that there's a lot to unpack here, but it is really about the Sam Darnold discussion and whether or not there is this existing in him. I don't think it is the case. He's got to clean things up. It's a bad day. I'm not going to overlook that in any way. I will say that the play calling and the approach against the Rams in this game was a little bit of a strange one for me throughout the whole day, not just partially throughout. And it did contribute to what was going on. It contributed to the 20 pressures that Jake talked about. And that is that the Rams, like the Seahawks defense, run a lighter box. What they do with that then is they drop more guys into coverage, 7 guys into coverage pretty consistently. Seattle does the same thing. What you do then stylistically is go up against those light boxes with a heavy run, and you attack with short passing. The 49ers in the 2 games against the Rams this year put the blueprint on tape for how you attack this Rams defense. And it's not throwing the ball down the field. It's not 7-step drops. It's not trying to take your chunk plays. But for some reason, Clint Kubiak completely ignored this whole part of what was right there on tape to be seen and understood, and decided not to stay as consistent with the run game, to get pass happy, and to try to throw the ball down the field. I'm not saying this excuses Sam's day by any measure, but it was a contributor to what you saw out there. And part of why I say I don't think this is something you see with him consistently going down the line. I, like Jake, see this as being a potential, triple rematch on this through this season. I think that Sam is going to prove these doubters wrong. I think it was a bad game, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm covering up on that part of it. And it was tremendous to watch a defense do what they did against Stafford, which was get pressure on a guy that gets the ball out of his hands so quickly. And other than a run here, a run there, they did a pretty good job in stopping the run. So you feel really good about that. You still had a chance even with the 4 interceptions. I think that is one of the big markers here, that this is a great team, that you can overcome that and still be that close on the road against a great Rams team. But I got to say, I just feel like the jump on this one to say that this proves Sam Darnold is a pumpkin now is, I think it's going to be proven wrong long term. I still do.
He's always been a pumpkin. It's not that he's a pumpkin now. He's always been a pumpkin.
How is he a pumpkin as an MVP candidate through more than half the year? And it's like, okay, you're going to jump in right now.
We're talking about a turnover machine in college. We're talking about a turnover machine throughout his whole career. He has a good season and a half, and every time he plays in a big game, he turns back into a turnover machine. The guy just turns the ball over when they need it the most. He's always been that. He'll always be that, in my opinion.
He wasn't a turnover machine last year.
He was the start.
Well, here's the interesting thing, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Brandon. Since the start of 2024, Sam Darnold 21-4 against everyone not named the LA Rams. 0-3 against the LA Rams, and we know how pivotal that Week 16 game is going to be. I mean, the way I'm looking at it right now, it's going to come down to Philly, LA, and your Seahawks, and that game very likely could be the difference between the 1 seed and maybe the 5 seed, depending on how things go. You're looking at Darnold's performance in this, and he's been terrific all the way up until this point. You mentioned it, an MVP candidate. He has been extraordinary. 4 picks in this big spot. You know he hasn't been great against the Rams. What is it that kind of allows you to think in the next one, this isn't going to be the case yet again?
Because rather than being really fooled by coverages or pre-snap what he's seeing from the Rams, what you see pretty consistently in most of these plays is Sam trying to do too much. Him in a play where he should be throwing it away or using his legs, or just not taking just take the sack. The stunt wins instantaneously off Byron Young off the edge to the inside. Nothing you can do about it. Your lineman blew his block. You just sometimes got to take a sack. And I think that that's stuff that you can correct in a quarterback versus quarterbacks that can't process on a football field. That's where I think this is all coming from when you backtrack, at least in this particular game, where all these interceptions were coming from. He's just trying to do too much. And I think as a coach, you can come to him, a good coach can come to a quarterback and say, okay, look, you get to that moment where you're late in the play. You're into that 3-second moment in the play. You got to go throw it away, use your legs. We got to have you eliminate this improvisation, trying to throw it down the field or trying to do too much thing that's kind of existing here in what you're doing.
And lastly, if you could just expand on it, because this defense here, they pitch 2 shutout quarters, a 7-point second half. The first quarter really allowed the Rams to have a cushion to win this football game when it was all said and done. But this defense is just off the charts. And it feels like if Sam Darnold can have a pedestrian game in some of these outings, they're going to wind up winning more often than not. So what do you make of this defense and the confidence you have in them moving forward when it starts getting into these crunch time situations here?
They're every bit as legit as we've kind of talked about and discussed here, in their ability to be one of the best in the sport, if not the best in the sport. When it's all said and done, we reach the end of the year. They can create pressure. They can stop the run. They can get turnovers and cover it up on the back end. They can confuse quarterbacks. I think they caught Stafford a couple times in this game, unsure about exactly what he was seeing. But they are legit all the way down the board, and they're in relatively good enough health here where they can maintain this down the line, and that should be something this team leans on. At the end of the day, you put your assets and resources on this team into the defense. That's where the money's put. That's where the draft picks are at. They got to kind of carry the day, and the offense needs to realize this. With this is part of the Sam Darnold education here, to say, look, you're a team driven by defense, great special teams. We're going to run the ball. We're going to be balanced. You don't have to do Superman stuff here for us to go out there and win. And I would say even to go win championships, there's a pathway for a quarterback to operate when he's got this much good around him to still get the ultimate success.
Jesse, I'll just give you a minute here, because you have been more vocally outspoken on Sam Darnold than maybe anybody. And I think, I go back to watching the game Sunday. I looked down on my phone and Jesse wasted no time sending over a message saying, how good is Sam Darnold here, right? So on the contrary here, where I understand where Brandon's coming from, you're looking at this. Are you watching Sunday thinking, yeah, this is what I expected here?
Listen, I actually picked the Seahawks to win this game. I said, clearly Matthew Stafford is the better quarterback. I just felt like Seattle was really on a heater. And I was back and forth. I really couldn't fully decide. I was like, is this the right take? Is this the right, the wrong pick? What's going on? I just knew that these teams were very close roster wise. I didn't expect Sam Darnold to play that way. I'll just say this, we came into this season talking about Sam Darnold, and I said I wasn't high on him. It's not like I'm just all of a sudden circling the wagons like, hey, Sam Darnold's not, like, I've had this take for a long time. And last year, or this offseason, when we talked about Sam Darnold and we talked about that game against Detroit and we talked about that game against the Rams, a lot of excuses were made. Oh, well, the offensive line just wasn't there. And, it wasn't his fault. The offensive line fell apart and Kubiak made him pass too much. It's like, okay, well, now the offensive line was there. Did he pass too much this game? Was the game plan not good? Like, what was it that caused this to happen? And I want to address one more thing, because Elena brings up a good point. Says, Josh Allen, he knows I'm a Josh Allen guy. Josh Allen and Lamar can't get it done in big games. Stop cherry picking. Listen, Lamar has his own issues in big games. There's no doubt about it. But this is not about wins and losses. This is about how you play as an individual. Josh Allen, statistically speaking, might be the best playoff quarterback of all time. Josh Allen delivers game in and game out in the playoffs. His team doesn't win, but when you look at what he does in the playoffs as an individual and you look at what he does in those big spots, he absolutely delivers in those games. They're not losing because of Josh Allen. They lost this game because of Sam Darnold. Like, you can say, hey, they still had a chance to win at the end. That defense kept them in it. The run game was pretty efficient. If Sam Darnold doesn't turn the ball over 4 times, they win that game. They do. So, it is what it is. We'll see. I mean, listen, Sam Darnold easily can come in and play well the rest of the year, play well in the playoffs, and I'll say that I'm wrong. But right now, there's no reason to backtrack on what I said. And coming into this game, it was like, oh, man, the victory laps on Sam Darnold in the chat was, oh, Jesse, you're the only one that's still hating. You better come around. It's like, oh, okay, word. Then should I come around after that game? Absolutely not. Let's see it. Let's see how it plays out here
as well. And also, while you're down there, you're already doing a bunch of things. Why not do one more thing and check out our friends over at Sleeper? Thursday Night Football, like I mentioned, my Buffalo Bills are in action. I crafted up a sleeper slip for you. Here's how I think it's going to go down. Khalil Shakir shut down by Tampa Bay and Todd Bowles on Sunday. I think he gets back on track. More than 4.5 receptions in that football game. Plus, Houston's pass defense is incredible. And if you watch any Bills football, Joe Brady loves to throw about 7 to 10 screens to Khalil Shakir. So you can bank on that one. James Cook to get in the end zone and Keon Coleman, if he's out there, less than 2.5 receptions on Thursday night. If you want to tell that one, or of course, create your own, you can do so by signing up for Sleeper today. Link in the description below. Create an account, and once you do, you will immediately get a free $20 entry to use on Thursday Night Football, any of the games in Week 12, NBA, NHL, you name it. Once you use your free $20 entry, use the promo code on your screen, RTS, and that will get you a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper Terms of Use for details. Currently available in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper via the link in the description below.